What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. DMZ video today, but a little bit different. We're looking at two areas which can be very beneficial for you to visit in terms of loot and loot quality. So as soon as you drop into the DMZ, if you are fortunate enough to land near one of these two places, then I would absolutely advise you to check it out as fast as you can, since if you start with a one plate armor carrier or a very shitty backpack like a tier 1 and no weapons or crappy weapons, you can absolutely find upgrades in all three of those categories in these areas, and they can definitely help you to then move from there and do a lot better in the DMZ. The first area of the two is the airport, which is situated southeast on the map, and basically you have three spawn points which start relatively close to this exact area that I'm going to show you. So first of all, I'd like to just say that you should be aware of the fact that anybody that knows this area will be making a beeline exactly where I'm showing you to right now. So be prepared to potentially fight off other enemies. However, something that I do notice is if you actually go into this area here, most people that spawn here will only loot the initial few loot boxes, which is in the first area before you pass through the door. So often in this beginning area here, you will get 3 boxes, possibly 4 boxes that offer really good loot. As you can see here, those are all tier 3 armor carriers, and we have some kill streaks and all of that. But more specifically, if you actually loot all of this, everything here, there's a door that you can pass through, which gives you access to a whole bunch more of these boxes, possibly another 2 or 3. And oftentimes here you can find even more upgrades, like as you can see in the example here, in those previous loot boxes I found good armor, but here I actually found a tier 3 backpack as well. So what I've realized is sometimes players will only loot those first boxes but never actually go through the door. They'll just loot that and run. So if you arrive late here, don't worry, it's possible that these boxes might still be unlooted, and you can definitely check them out. Now I do mention again, if you are in that area, please be sure to loot fast and move out, especially if you're playing solo, because most often you will find squads congregating here, since a few missions actually revolve around things around the airport, and also at the same time, since this is such a contested area due to 3 spawns being right here. So loot and run, be smart, keep your head on a swivel, and you'll survive. The second area, and this isn't really an area at all that you can loot really well from, is the train. Now the train always starts at exactly the same position on the map, on the right side, kind of like halfway down. Every time when you launch into DMZ, it always starts there. So if you're starting on the left side of the map or more to the north to the top, you are going to most likely miss out on the loot on the train, because you will take too long to get to it, and by that time it'll most likely already be looted. That being said, if you're starting on the lower end of the map or to the right at the lower end, you absolutely have to visit the train, since there is a abundance of really good loot on here, including boxes that offer upgrades to armor, backpack, and all of that. Again, all of this is RNG, so I mean, sometimes it'll spawn a shitload of good stuff, sometimes a little bit less, but this is very contested, and you have to be aware of the fact that several spawn lines sit right next to the train tracks, and oftentimes players will spawn and immediately run to the track and just jump on the train when they can. That, coupled with the fact that there's a mission that requires you to kill stuff from the train, means that oftentimes at night or during times when there's a lot of people on the server, you will find guys just camping the train, sitting on top of the roof, sitting inside the carriages and all of that. So be aware of that. Same rules apply for when we were talking about looting at the airport. Get on the train, loot, and get off, especially if you're playing solo. The longer you stay on the train, the more you expose yourself to potential issues from enemies trying to push you or trying to jump on the train and do all kinds of weird shenanigans. Now, one other thing that I also do want to mention is that it's quite important that you be careful as well when you disembark the train after looting it, as to which side you jump off on. A very good example of that would be this area that we're coming up on right now in the footage here. So as you get to the south of the map, where you have the airport to the south of you and you have that town to the north of you, you have to be careful that when you jump off to the north side, you are most likely exposing yourself to a shitload of enemies who all stand along the tracks there. So definitely exit to the bottom, exit to the south of the train, so you won't immediately take a crap load of gunfire from those enemies as you climb off. With with the recent update to the DMZ, enemies are dealing a lot more damage, they're a lot more accurate, and especially the elite enemies in the game can be ridiculously OP, especially if you're running in there by yourself, because you're going to be drawing all of the fire. The fire is not going to be saturated between you and two of your other teammates or something like that, so you'll be taking all of the heat. So be smart with the way that you disembark the train, or failing that, if you don't want to jump off just yet, find one of the closed carriages, sit on it, ride the train to a less populated area and jump off there. But again, as mentioned, be aware of the fact that you could potentially have some assholes that then show up on the train and want to fucking boogie. That's going to be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. The bottom line is you can get good loot from anywhere in the map in the game. You can completely luck out and walk up to a random loot box and have it give you the best armor, the best backpack, or some kill streaks. That is totally possible, and that is the RNG of the game at work. However, you can specifically focus on certain areas which have a high concentration of red loot boxes, and those loot boxes are going to guarantee you the best loot in the game, or very, very good rolls on weapons, which are fundamentally a lot better than the weapons which you just pick up by normal, because they'll have more attachments, which means they'll have more functionality. So that's it. Let me know in the comments down below if there's any specific area that you like looting. I have a couple of my favorites as well, which I'm not quite ready yet to put in a video because I like to keep them a secret a little while longer, but I'll definitely be sharing that in the days to come. So be sure to check back in on the channel. I've also been covering the DMZ missions, specifically that I think are a little bit more difficult, to take a little bit more planning, a little bit more doing to do. I'm focusing on doing them all solo to allow for people that want to play the game in a lone wolf kind of way to also be able to do these. So keep an eye out for those, as well as letting me know in the comments down below if there's a specific mission that you're looking for help with. Other than that, it's just super important to me that you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, and evening wherever you are in the world. And until next video, fucking cheers.
They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me.